This morning, we have a fascinating look inside the business of treasure hunting. A family found $1 million in gold and other artifacts off the Florida coast.
A hoard of silver pennies from the time of the Norman conquest has been bought for £4.3 million, making it the highest value treasure ever found in the UK.
Ah, treasure. The gleam of gold, the sparkle of gems, the promise of untold riches lying just beneath the surface. It's a dream that has lured adventurers, pirates, and treasure hunters for centuries. But while many of us fantasize about finding the treasure chest buried in the backyard, there is far grander and far more exclusive treasure hidden all over the world. These are no ordinary places. They are lost treasures worth billions, yes, billions, still waiting to be discovered. You'd think that with all the modern technology and satellite imagining, we'd have found these hidden piles of riches by now. But alas, the world is a big place, and these treasures remain as tantalizing and mysterious as ever. So grab your compass and your best map and let's look at 14 lost treasures worth billions still undiscovered to this day. Number 14. The Amber Room. Picture this. A room made entirely of amber, gold, and mirrors so shiny they could blind you on a sunny day. Thus was the Amber Room, an 18th century masterpiece in Russia's Catherine Palace, crafted by German artisans with more blog than a rapper's jewelry collection. It's estimated to be worth billions today. But here's the catch. No one has seen it in decades. The Amber Room was a gift to Tsar Peter the Great in 1716 and was basically the ultimate I love you gesture. It was made of 6 tons of amber, those 12,000 pounds, or the equivalent of 10,000 really heavy bags of groceries, along with gold leaf and mirrors. The room looked so stunning that people who wailed in probably had to wear sunglasses. It was basically a palace flex before Instagram selfies. Fast forward to World War II. The Nazis waltzed in, and as proof, the Amber Room disappeared. They packed it up, transported it to Königsberg, and were gone. Some say it's hidden under the floorboard somewhere. Others believe it was destroyed during air raids, and a few conspiracy theorists are convinced it's chilling in a secret bunker. And so here we are. The Amber Room lost to time, leaving treasure hunters to speculate wildly. Whoever finds it could be the ultimate winner. Talk about finding a needle in a very, very shiny haystack. Number 13. The Lost Crown Jewels of England. Imagine a fortune in gold, diamonds, and history hidden somewhere in England, worth billions of dollars, yet no one can find it. Welcome to the mystery of Lost Crown Jewels of England, a tale so wild it could be a plot twist in a bad pirate movie. But also, it's real, and it's one of history's most enduring unsolved treasure hunts. The story begins in 1649 when King Charles I, the monarch with more enemies than a reality TV star, was executed. But before he met his unfortunate fate, his precious crown jewels, like the imperial state crown and the sovereign's scepter, were locked away for safekeeping. Troubles were, the monarchy's enemies were so keen on destroying everything royal that they decided to hide the jewels from prying eyes. The jewels were packed up, stashed away, and proof. They were never seen again. Over the centuries, theories have emerged about their fate. Some say the jewels were buried by royalists in a secret location. Clothes suggest they were stolen by treacherous caretakers or that they were melted down into bullion. The most outlandish claim? That the jewels are simply waiting to be rediscovered, hidden in a forgotten crypt or behind an old wall somewhere in the British LSLEs, like an aristocratic game of Where's Waldo? And while the search for these riches continues, one thing is clear. The crown jewels of England, lost or hidden, are worth billions of dollars today. Yet no metal detector or treasure map has turned up a single clue. The only thing certain is that the jewels are somewhere, probably right where someone's great-grandfather hid them, next to a half-empty bottle of scotch. So, while you're out there searching for your own treasures, remember, the crown jewels could still be waiting for their moment to shine or be discovered on the next episode of Biggest Mysteries. Number 12. The Cartierpatiala Necklace. In the glamorous world of high jewelry, few treasures are as legendary or as elusive as the Cartierpatiala Necklace. Known for its dazzling diamonds and royal provenance, this piece of history is also the stuff of treasure hunting dreams. Why? Because despite its estimated value in the millions, this sparkling jewel is still nowhere to be found. Created in 1928 for the Maharaja of Patiala Bhupinder Singh, this extravagant necklace was a masterpiece of craftsmanship. Cartier, the famed French jeweler, designed it using 2930 diamonds, including one massive 234.69 carat diamond, along with sapphires, emeralds, and other precious stones. It was, without a doubt, the bling of all bling, so much so that it became the talk of the elite, a true symbol of wealth and power. But just a few years later, the necklace mysteriously vanished. Fast forward to the 1940s. The necklace was taken apart and dispersed, perhaps due to political turmoil or a royal squabble over ownership. Some of the diamonds later resurfaced, popping up in various collections, but the full necklace, gone, vanished, disappeared into the ether. To this day, the Cartierpatiala necklace remains one of the most sought-after treasures, tantalizing treasure hunters and historians alike. It's worth millions, possibly much more if it were to reappear in its original form. And yet, every time a new lead emerges, it fades into nothing. Who knows? Maybe it's tucked away in some obscure vault or sitting on the wrist of an unknown billionaire. Either way, the Cartierpatiala necklace is the ultimate game of hide-and-seek, and we're all just waiting for it to be found. Number 11. Leon Trabusan Gold. In the world of lost treasure, few are as tantalizing and mysterious as the fabled Leon Trabusan Gold. Estimated to be worth a staggering $1 billion, this treasure has captured the imaginations of historians, treasure hunters, and conspiracy theorists alike for over a century. But how did a treasure this massively tied to a name no one can even seem to agree on disappear? It all began in the late 1800s, when a flamboyant yet elusive figure named Leon Trabusan allegedly hid a fortune in gold somewhere along the coast of Brazil. How did he amass this treasure? Was it from piracy, smuggling, or shady dealings with long-lost kingdoms? No one really knows, but legend has it that Trabusan was gifted in the art of acquiring riches as he was vanishing into thin air. He reportedly spent years amassing gold, only to disappear without a trace, leaving behind a cryptic map that hinted at the treasure's location. Of course, the map is as elusive as the gold itself. Generations of treasure hunters have seconded the jungles, mountains, and beaches of Brazil, desperately attempting to decipher Trabusan's supposed clues. Some say the map was lost in a fire, others claim it was stolen by rival treasure hunters, and a few suggest that Trabusan never actually existed. He was simply the invention of an ambitious storyteller with a flair for the dramatic. Despite the best efforts of modern treasure hunters, no one has ever found the Leon Trabusan Gold. Some argue that the treasure doesn't even exist, and that it's just an elaborate hoax. But with billions at stake, the search continues. And as long as there is gold to be found, there will be treasure hunters chasing legends just like Trabusan. Number 10. Crown Jewels of Ireland. Once upon a time, Ireland boasted a treasure so splendid it could make even the most dazzling tiaras look like something you pick up at a thrift store. The Crown Jewels of Ireland were a collection of regal gems worth billions today, and they were meant to represent British authority over the Emerald Isle. But in 1907, they pulled a Houdini and disappeared from Dublin Castle, vanishing faster than your last paycheck after a weekend in Temple Bar. And to this day, no one knows where they went. Let's talk about the jewels themselves. The crown was a glittering symbol of British rule, but it didn't exactly scream low-key. It included a massive star, a sash, and of course, the show-stealing crown. If you were into royal regalia in the early 20th century, this set was the Beyoncé of jewels. Estimated today to be worth billions, that's billions with a capital B, the jewels were a mix of diamonds, rubies, and sapphires, probably worth more than your entire extended family's combined net worth. They were not just for show, but had deep symbolic significance. Think of them as the crown equivalent of a "We Run This" t-shirt, except with a few $1 million worth of sparkle. But here's the kicker. In 1907, the jewels disappeared without a trace. The vaults of Dublin Castle were locked tight, yet by morning the entire collection had vanished. The Irish police launched a massive investigation, but the mystery remains unsolved. Some say a disgruntled insider took them, while others believe a well-organized thief had a thing for fancy crowns. What's the cost of this royal disappearance? Well, aside from billions in today's market value, it's a priceless piece of Irish history that still stirs up intrigue, conspiracy theories, and a lot of what-ifs. So if you ever find yourself near Dublin Castle, just keep an eye out. Those jewels might still be hiding somewhere, or maybe not. Number 9. The Sword of Islam. Ah, the Sword of Islam. If legendary artifacts had a Hall of Fame, this razor-sharp relic would definitely be in the VIP section. It's said to have once belonged to the Prophet Muhammad himself, a blade so powerful it could cut through history with one swipe, or at least that's how the story goes. But like many ancient treasures, the Sword of Islam is now more elusive than a Wi-Fi password at a coffee shop, and its whereabouts remain one of the greatest mysteries in history. So, what makes this sword so special? Well, aside from its divine connection, the blade was rumored to be a gift from the heavens. It's believed to have been passed down through the generations of Islamic caliphs, wielded by great military leaders and emperors. With its intricate design and legendary origins, the Sword of Islam was not just a weapon but a symbol of power, faith, and, let's face it, some serious street cred. Today, the sword's estimated value is in the billions. Because, holy relic and ancient artifact tend to add a couple zeros to the price tag. But here's the plot twist. The sword is now missing. In fact, its disappearance is shrouded in so much mystery that it makes a Sherlock Holmes case look like a children's bedtime story. Some say it was lost during the Crusades. Others believe it was stolen during one of the many power struggles that swept through the Islamic world. Some even whisper that it was hidden to keep it out of the hands of those who would misuse its power. And let's be real, if you had a billion-dollar blade, you'd probably hide it too. So what's the cost of this legendary sword? Well, it's priceless. Not just in monetary terms, but as a cultural and historical treasure. So if you ever find yourself in a dusty attic or an ancient bazaar, keep your eyes peeled. You never know when the Sword of Islam might just turn up, gleaming and ready to slice through history once again. Number 8. Ark of the Covenant. The Ark of the Covenant is like the holy grail of treasure hunts. Mysterious, priceless, and more elusive than your Wi-Fi signal on a rainy day. This legendary artifact, supposedly housing the original 10 Commandments, has been missing for thousands of years. But hey, no biggie, it's only worth billions of dollars, and could probably be the key to world peace, but who's counting? According to ancient texts, the Ark was once carted around by the Israelites, possibly to really impressive soundtracks, but then somewhere along the way, it vanished. Poof, gone. Like that one sock that always disappears in the laundry. Over the centuries, it has become the holy grail of lost treasures, and frankly, it's starting to feel a little like a cosmic game of hide and seek. Some people think it's buried in the bottom of the ocean, guarded by sea monsters and the occasional scuba diver. Others swear it's hidden in a cave somewhere, tucked behind a rock labeled "Do Not Open." Then there's the theory that it's in your grandmother's attic, next to her collection of porcelain cats, gathering dust while she pretends to be on vacation. Experts have spent centuries hunting for it, from the sands of Egypt to the depths of Ethiopia. But all they've found so far are questionable artifacts and the occasional ancient snack wrapper. If you ask an archaeologist about the Ark's location, you'll likely get a shrug, a sigh, and a comment about how they tried everything except turning it into a TikTok challenge. But fear not, treasure hunters. The Ark is still out there, waiting to be found. If you can survive the bad Wi-Fi, cursed relics, and possibly an impromptu dance-off with ancient spirits. Good luck, and may your treasure map be more accurate than your last IKEA bookshelf instructions. Number 7. The Lost Treasures of Lima. For centuries, adventurers have been trying and failing to locate the legendary lost treasure of Lima, a hoard of gold, jewels, and priceless artifacts so valuable that it could make Scrooge McDuck's vault look like a kiddie piggy bank. Worth billions, this treasure has eluded treasure hunters longer than your car keys on a Monday morning. Here's the scoop. In the early 19th century, when Spain was busy with its colonial empire building and people were stealing stuff like it was a Black Friday sale, the Spanish governor of Lima, Peru, decided to stash a massive treasure before the city fell to rebels. So in 1820, he packed up gold, silver, and some seriously valuable stuff, probably even some vintage wine, because why not, and shipped it off for safekeeping. But the treasure didn't make it to safety. Enter the drama. The ship carrying the treasure, the Santa Maria, was attacked by pirates. The treasure? Gone. The pirates? Irrelevant. The real mystery is how this treasure just vanished. Rumors say it was buried on an island, and from there, the wildest theories emerged. Some believe it's hidden beneath an ancient pyramid, others swear it's buried in a remote jungle where a sloth guards it with a smile. Treasure hunters have scoured jungles, braved shark-infested waters, and even navigated Google Maps. But no one has found the gold. Instead, they found mosquitoes. More mosquitoes, and ancient "don't touch this" signs. Some say the treasure is cursed, which is probably just a cover for the fact that no one has been able to decode the "Where's Waldo" map left behind by the governor. So if you're looking to find the lost treasure of Lima, pack your best sunscreen, learn to dodge wild theories, and maybe, just maybe, you'll end up with some treasure. Or at least a story about mosquitoes. Number 6. The Tomb of First Qin Emperor. Deep beneath the soil of China, hidden in the mystery of the tomb of Emperor Qin, lies treasure so valuable it could make Jeff Bezos drop his monocle. It's not just gold or jade, it's an entire underground empire of statues, weapons, and maybe even a few ancient selfies. Well, probably not. Emperor Qin Shi Huang, China's first emperor, decided to be extra in the afterlife and buried a hoard of treasure with himself when he passed in 210 BC. So what's the big deal? Well, his tomb, which is rumored to be surrounded by rivers of mercury, is said to contain billions in ancient treasure. Statues of warriors, chariots, and real-life terracotta soldiers, not the action figures you're thinking, have already been unearthed. But the good stuff, the gold, jewels, and priceless relics, remains locked away. That's right, treasure hunters, what you've seen on National Geographic is just the appetizer. Here's where it gets really spicy. No one has ever fully excavated the tomb. Why? Well, apparently there's a slight mercury problem, as in, rivers of the stuff have flooded the tomb, possibly turning the whole place into a giant DIY chemistry set. No big deal, right? It's not like anyone ever thought, hey, maybe we'll discover a lethal chemical trap beneath all that gold. Despite this small setback, people keep trying to find the treasure. Archaeologists and adventurers alike have poured countless resources into cracking the code of Qin's tomb. So if you're thinking of going treasure hunting in China, don't forget your mercury-proof suit and a powerful shovel. Number 5. Hanzo Masamune Sword. If there's one thing more elusive than a Hollywood treasure map, it's the Hanzo Masamune sword. Considered one of the finest swords ever crafted, this legendary katana has been missing for over 70 years, and the search for it is like the world's most exclusive scavenger hunt. Worth millions, its blade is steeped in history, yet it's vanished into thin air, almost as if it's playing a wicked game of hide-and-seek with the world. Created by the revered swordsmith Masamune in the 13th century, the Hanzo Masamune was more than just a weapon. It was a work of art. This katana wasn't about cutting through enemies as much as it was about cutting through time. Its craftsmanship was so perfect that even the most hardened samurai treated it like a sacred relic, and it was passed down through Japan's shogunates for generations. Then came World War II, and the sword story took a turn for the strange. After Japan's defeat in 1945, many samurai swords, including the Hanzo Masamune, were handed over to the US as part of post-war efforts. Somewhere along the way, the sword mysteriously disappeared. Was it stolen, lost in a heap of war relics, or did it slip into the hands of some cunning treasure hunter? Today, the Hanzo Masamune's value is so high that it could fund your dreams of buying a small island if you find it. But despite various leads, including a wild theory that it might be hidden in a New York museum, no one has laid eyes on it in decades. So if you're ever in Japan, don't just hunt for sushi, keep an eye out for the world's most elusive sword. The Honjo Masamune could be lurking in your attic, or better yet, your next TikTok video might just be the clue that solves the mystery. Number 4. Kawanga Pass Treasure. California's got its fair share of famous treasures: gold rush nuggets, pirate loot, and of course every tech billionaire's crypto wallet. But one treasure remains tantalizingly out of reach: the legendary Kawanga Pass treasure, worth millions, hidden somewhere in California and completely undiscovered to this day. The story of the Kawanga Pass treasure begins in the 18th century, when a rogue treasure hunter named Kawanga, who may or may not have been an alias for an incredibly wicked speller, buried his riches somewhere along the coast of California. What did Kawanga bury? Historians aren't entirely sure, but it's believed to be a combination of gold, silver, rare jewels, and maybe an antique collection of Star Wars memorabilia. The man was ahead of his time. For decades, explorers, treasure hunters, and at least one over-enthusiastic tourist have scoured California looking for the Kawanga Pass treasure. Some say it's hidden in the dense forests of Northern California. Others think it might be buried under the sand on one of those picturesque beaches where you can't ever find parking. A few rogue theories even claim it's in Disneyland, just behind Sleeping Beauty's castle, but those theories are usually dismissed after a few churros. Despite the search efforts, the treasure remains elusive. Some say it was hidden by Kawanga to test the resolve of future adventurers. Others think Kawanga just had a terrible memory and forgot where he buried it. But one thing is certain: the Kawanga Pass treasure is still out there. If you ever find yourself in California, maybe pack a shovel. Just don't expect it to be under the nearest palm tree. Unless, of course, you're into treasure hunting with a side of ridiculousness. Number 3. Royal Casket. Once upon a time, in the land of pierogi, castles, and kings, there existed a treasure of legendary proportions: the Royal Casket. It wasn't just any chest. It was an intricately designed, jewel-encrusted box filled with priceless artifacts, royal heirlooms, and more gold than a rapper's music video. The casket once belonged to the Polish monarchy, and its contents were fit for kings, or, if you're a 21st century billionaire, a nice weekend yacht trip. But as with many treasures, its fairy tale existence was short-lived. In the early days of World War II, the Nazis rolled into Poland like that one annoying guest who refuses to leave your party. And as they were known to do, they looted everything in sight. The Royal Casket, which was hiding in plain sight within the walls of a Polish castle, was one of their top targets. It was seized, packed up, and shipped off for safekeeping in Nazi-occupied Germany, probably on the same truck that had a fragile sticker on it, though we all know how that works out. Fast forward to today, and the Royal Casket has mysteriously vanished. Some believe it was hidden in the Alps, others speculate it ended up buried somewhere in a German bunker, and there are whispers that it's sitting pretty in some private collector's vault, like a piece of jewelry at a pawn shop waiting for its time to shine. The casket's fate remains as elusive as a Wi-Fi signal in the mountains, and its worth today? Easily in the millions. If you're planning on looking for it, just remember, bring a metal detector, some snacks, and maybe a decent map, because finding this treasure is going to be one royally difficult task. Number 2. Secret Treasure of the Knights Templar. Ah, the secret treasure of the Knights Templar. The stuff of legends, conspiracy theories, and really awful history movies. This treasure, said to be worth millions, has tantalized treasure hunters, conspiracy theorists, and Indiana Jones cosplayers for centuries. It's as elusive as your phone charger when you're running late, and as mysterious as the plot twists in a soap opera. The Knights Templar were a medieval group of elite warriors, financiers, and apparently extremely secretive hoarders. During the Crusades, they amassed vast wealth. From gold and precious stones to ancient relics, and locked it all away in secret locations that only the most trusted knights knew about. Naturally, these knights were big fans of cryptic maps, hidden chambers, and probably a slightly over-dramatic flair for secrecy. When the order was disbanded by the Pope in the 14th century, long story, medieval drama, you get it, the treasure was, poof, gone, vanished. Or was it? Some say the treasure is hidden somewhere in Europe, possibly under the floorboards of a forgotten church or in the catacombs beneath Paris, right next to a pile of baguettes and berets. Others argue it's stashed in the New World, North America to be precise, waiting for a brave soul to decode a centuries-old riddle involving a questionable map and a very questionable riddle book. Here's the catch: nobody's found it yet. Despite centuries of treasure hunters, treasure maps, and occasional bursts of wild optimism, the Templar treasure remains undiscovered. So if you're planning on finding it, don't forget your pickaxe, a magnifying glass, and a whole lot of patience. Who knows? You might just find yourself richer than a Templar knight on the hunt for more treasure. Number 1. Yamashita's gold. If you're looking for treasure that's more valuable than your last paycheck, then look no further than Yamashita's gold. According to legend, this massive stash of gold, platinum, and diamonds, worth a cool $5 billion, was looted by the Japanese during World War II and hidden somewhere in the Philippines. The treasure? Unfound. The search? Never-ending. And the people looking for it? A whole lot of adventurous and probably slightly delusional treasure hunters who have no idea where to start digging. The legend of Yamashita's gold revolves around General Tomoyuki Yamashita, the so-called Tiger of Malaya, because why not add a little drama to your military title? As World War II came to a close, the Japanese were allegedly in a bit of a bind and decided to stash their loot in various locations across the Philippines to prevent it from falling into Allied hands. Think of it as the world's most expensive game of hide-and-seek. Except, instead of a rubber ball, they were hiding hundreds of tons of gold bars, precious gems, and possibly a few ancient ninja swords just for good measure. Despite numerous treasure hunts, cryptic maps, and strange sightings of gold-laden caves, usually followed by an awkward moment when someone realizes they've been digging in the wrong spot for hours, no one has actually found the treasure. Some say it's buried beneath a jungle, others argue it's hidden in a remote cave, and a few adventurous souls believe it's right under the local McDonald's, because who wouldn't hide $5 billion in fries, right? So, if you're in the Philippines with a shovel, a dream, and an obsessive need to be really rich, why not take a shot at finding Yamashita's gold? Just don't forget to check your backyard first. After all, it could be right there. Or maybe you'll just dig up a lot of old cans. Either way, it'll be a golden adventure. Comment down below which treasure left your mind to blow, and are you planning to go on a treasure hunt to become the next billionaire?